Okay. Hey, Melissa, how are you?
Hi, doing good this morning.
Well, I'm very excited to be talking to you. This is Melissa Fleming with our Texas Austin Team Brock chapter. So thank you for sitting down with me. I appreciate it.
I like any opportunity to talk about my little man.
Yes, and I see him right there behind you. Please tell us more. Tell us about Brock. Tell us about him.
Brock is a cutie pie. He is handsome.
Yes.
He knew it. He took pride in what he wore. We had many meltdowns in preschool when he had to wear a uniform and couldn't wear his superhero or Scooby Doo shirts. But he loved dinosaurs. He could tell you anything about them, and killer whales, also known as orcas. We had many books on that. Had a lot of fun doing Legos. We would have marathons during his battle. He loved swimming. He's definitely a water baby. Was always in the pool with his sister, and loved watching Jaws and Jurassic Park at like 5 years old. So it's all good. But he's just a fun kid. He'd walk into the room and you knew he was there because he was smiling and just lighting up and full of energy. Full of energy.
That's great. You can tell he definitely had a sparkle. So
He
he
did.
was very, very happy. Well, okay, so tell us about his battle. How old was he when you found out? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was just a month shy of his birthday, of his seventh birthday. So he was 6 years old and he battled for 7 months. He just tripped and fell the day before. He had said that his vision was blurry, but in our family, we all wear glasses, didn't think anything of it. But when he tripped and fell, he didn't land right and ended up falling head first and had a concussion. And after a couple of scans, they were able to see the tumor, and that's when he was diagnosed. And this was, in 2016. It wasn't common to get a biopsy at that time, but fortunately, our local hospital was comfortable doing it and asked us if we wanted one, which we're grateful for, because it really helped just kind of rule out some trials during his battle. But back then, you didn't really have a lot of options, but we did have a couple, and we knew they wouldn't work. So yeah, so it was pretty crazy because of the tumor and the biopsy, and his was very aggressive. And with the concussion, he lost all mobility within like 2 days of the fall. And it took about a month for him to walk again, and then another 2 weeks before he didn't need a walker. But he was able to get back to his full mobility and create some family memories. But during that time, he really just had radiation and wasn't really anything else available.
Mhm. Okay. All right. And how did tell me about your Austin community? How did they gather around you and help you?
That was amazing. I remember sitting in the hot tub with Brock because, again, he didn't have mobility, but the water was very freeing. So we were always in the hot tub. And a friend came out and said, "Hey, Round Rock Express, which is the local baseball team, says that Brock can throw the first pitch at the game. Would you want to do that?" And I was like, "Brock, you want to do it?" And he's like, "Yes." And then she's like, "Well, do you want us to wear shirts?" And he was like, "Okay." And she's like, "Well, what do you want on him?" And he's like, "Batman." So the friend's son actually created a logo with the Batman on it. And then she's like, "Well, do you want like Brock Strong? You want Team Brock?" And he was adamant Team Brock. And he wanted blue shirt with black Batman logo. Blue was his favorite color. And so from that point on, there was a group of friends, and some were strangers even, that came together, and they would do a monthly event. And it was really to cheer us on as a fundraiser, but it gave everyone opportunity to see Brock because we were obviously trying to just get time with him and weren't around as many. So it was really fun family. And they had Brock be the grand marshal of the July 4th parade for the city of Round Rock, which was really fun. And so then
Mhm.
after he passed away, that same committee just said, "Hey, do you want to do anything else?" And we had gotten connected to the Cure Starts Now during that process. And I was like, yes. I was happy that they wanted to help us. And so that really kind of continued the community involvement that we still have today.
That's wonderful to have that support. No family can go through this alone. So to continue to have that support, and you are part of that support now. You have continued that with others as well. Um, how tell us how you got involved with the Cure Starts Now. Like what drew you to the Cure Starts Now?
So during her battle, Baruch Deseret was kind of a sounding board for me. If I,
Good at
she
that.
was very respectful where she wasn't reaching out to us a lot, but she was open and ready to help however she could. And so through that process, they actually came to one of our events. We had a fun run because, it was important to us to raise money for research, and we were finding out about how committed they were. And so when they asked if we want to do an event, I was like, well, let's do one for the Cure Starts Now, because I knew that any money that we gave them would be spent wisely. And we were just learning it, but we knew that they were dedicated to research. And during Brock's battle, the nurse asked him during one of the hospital visits, what do you want out of this day? And I'm kind of looking at her like, what? And then he said, well, I know I want to be better. And that always echoes in my mind that Brock just wanted to be better. And so James and I decided that all he wanted was a cure, and that's what we have to do for others. And then when we see that 97% is funding research and the other programs now to support families with, our support programs, really is making a difference in many ways that our families need and our kids need.
That's great. And we're so glad that you got connected, just because, that research is so vitally important to this type of pediatric brain cancer. So, your friends, your families, and all your supporters are, watching you right now. What do you want them to know about what we're doing here today?
Well, first, I just have to thank everyone. We are almost six, well, we're 6 years past diagnosis, and I know that people just move forward with their lives, which I understand. Something like this is very personal to all families. And so when you're giving $5, when you're giving $50, any support is very uplifting to our family, because what you're saying is that you still care about our family. And more importantly, you care about all of our kids and changing prognosis for them. And so any donation is very personal, and I am grateful. James is grateful. Our Team Brock committee is grateful that you continue to come out to our events and support us. I said at a golf tournament one time, like, as long as y'all support us, I'm going to keep doing it. And I feel like I had a wedding procession right after that. Everyone's like, I'll support you. But we do other events with our community. We had a really fun, amazing event with Orange Theory here in Round Rock, where one of the coaches' husbands worked out
Mm.
for 24 hours. And honestly, I'm still on a high from it. The energy from those members, and for Barry to be willing to do that, and what his body had to endure, it just shows that our community cares. And I'm grateful. And of course, I ask you to continue to go along the ride with us. We've had two other families, the Renders and the Chatrins, join us in honor of Alexis and Caitlin, and our committee that's been with me from the beginning keep going strong. So thank you to them. It's definitely all of our efforts. I see it every day as we are going into grant season and funding research. These doctors are invested, and as long as we keep giving them money, they're able to do it, and we're going to help them. So help me help them.
Absolutely. You are doing wonderful things in Austin Round Rock. And thank you so much for all that you do. And thank you for sharing Brock's story. And thank you for sharing your family with us. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for joining our team and supporting all of us chapters. We need you.
Of course.